right. So I'm used to starting these things and then saying good morning in Arabic and warming up with some good verb conjugation, but I don't think that's what we're going to do tonight. Tonight, we're here as part of the University of Arkansas's Language and Culture series, which is newly launched, and this is one of many events celebrating and sharing language, culture, customs, and more with the campus and our surrounding community. So the Arabic program is proud to host tonight's virtual concert by Layaali Arabic Music Ensemble. I want to make sure everybody knows that we will have some guests from the band joining us after the show for a conversation, discussion, Q&A about Arabic music and any other questions you might want to ask. We will have percussionist and director of Layaali, Michal Mushabbak, master oud player Abdul Wahab Kayali, and accordionist Simon Mushabbak will also be joining us. So when we get to that part of the event, you can just ask your questions in the chat and I'll try to help ask them for you. Or if you'd like to raise your hand and speak for yourself at that point, we can do it that way. So it's open for your choice. If you're a student here and you're part of the Language and Culture series and you'd like to get a stamp on your digital passport so that maybe you can win one of the prizes they have available. There are the links for that. And at the conclusion of the event, please make sure to take the survey at the end. And I've also put those links in the chat. So if you'd like to go to those from there, either way is good. And special thanks to our contributing sponsors. I'll let you look over those while I get the video started. I want to make sure everyone can see before are we all good? I'm going to stop my video and mute myself. And I would ask everyone to please stay muted during the concert and put it on full screen so you can have the full benefit without interruption. And then we'll see you guys after the show. Please send me a message in the chat if there's any problem.
Greetings and thank you for joining us. My name is Michal Mushabbak and I am the director of the Layaali Arabic Music Ensemble. I am delighted to be presenting this performance as part of the University of Arkansas's Language and Culture series. I would very much like to thank Professor Paula Haidar and also Professor Adnan Haidar for inviting me to give this talk and performance. And thank you to everyone who made this event possible, including the Department of World Languages, Literatures and Culture, the Humanities Department, the Honors College, Middle East Studies, the Arabic Department, and of course, the students. I have known Paula and Adnan for a long time, since their days at UMass Amherst in my hometown. And at least for the last couple of decades, we've met each other at the Middle East Studies Association Convention. In my capacity as publisher and editor at Interlink Publishing, I have worked closely with Paula on a number of novels that she brilliantly translated from the Arabic. It is an honor to be working with her again, but this time on a musical performance. In these times of uncertainty, engaging with people like Paula and Adnan and others at the University of Arkansas is an inspiring reminder of the power of music, the power of art, the power of literature, in thinking through some of the challenges brought about by the pandemic, the political crisis that threatens our democracy, and the racial injustices in our society. My colleagues and I are firm believers in the power of solidarity, and especially the strong bonds that tie music lovers together. We feel that music and musical performances are our last remaining democratic spaces, our main acts of resistance against dehumanization. Music plays an important role in healing and in humanizing the other. We watch performances, we listen to music from other cultures, we join fusion ensembles, we compose, we incorporate influences from other parts of the world. When we do this, we are humanizing the other and contributing to making our world a better place. Music can spark joy, it can inspire connection, compassion, understanding, and yes, without a doubt, activism. Without music, there will be no revolutions. The performance that you are about to see now features highlights from our last major concert that we gave before the lockdown took hold of our lives. It was held in Washington, D.C. at the Carnegie Institution for Science Auditorium. Layaali's repertoire celebrates the diverse musical traditions from throughout the Arab world. We play classical music, we play folk music, and we play contemporary pieces by renowned composers. The 8-member ensemble includes musicians from different parts of the Arab world, from Lebanon, from Syria, from Palestine, from Jordan, from Morocco. When we came to the US, we have each smuggled our homeland in our pockets, so to speak. The music that we grew up with is like a drug that we cannot quit. The 3 founding members of Layaali, Jamal Sinno, who plays Qanun, Mohammed Maj'our, who plays Nai, the reed flute, and myself plays tabla and rik, that's percussion instruments from the Arab world. We have been playing together since 1992. For nearly 28 years when we founded Layaali in Boston. The first part of the performance includes 3 pieces. The first piece is called Sama'i al-Halla'in, or in English, the barbershop Sama'i. I don't know why they call it that. Maybe because the piece is so calming, it's soothing and relaxing that made people stay still while they're getting their hair cut. Maybe. The Sama'i is an instrumental genre introduced to the Arab world by the Ottoman Turks in the late part of the 19th century. It is played on the 10/8 rhythm. If you could count from 1 to 10 and clap on the 1, on the 6, and on the 7, you'll be able to feel it. I can demonstrate. Okay, let's count it together. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Let me demonstrate this on the rik so you can see what it sounds like. 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. And on the tabla, it sounds like this. The two pieces that follow are by Egyptian composer Muhammad Abdul Wahab, one of the Arab world's most important composers. The first is called An-Nahr al-Khalid, and in English it means the eternal river, referring to the Nile River, the source of Egypt's livelihood. It will start with an improvisation on the cello by Nasim al-Atrash. The next piece after that, it will start with an accordion improvisation by Simon Mshabek. Simon, you will notice, will be playing a quarter tone accordion. The piece is called Bint al-Balad, or Country Girl, and it refers to the girls who fill up these water jugs at the village spring, how they balance the clay water jugs on their heads and how they sway their hips seductively as the men watch them depart. So I hope you will enjoy the first set. I will be back to introduce the second set in a little while. I hope you've enjoyed the first set. Our hearts and minds are preoccupied and heavy with uncertainty these days. The effects of this public health crisis are hitting musicians really hard with concert cancellations, festival cancellations, and so forth. The economic fallout from this pandemic and its impact on musicians is incalculable. Of course, not only musicians, the pandemic has affected us all in unforeseeable ways. During these difficult times, we hope that you will find shelter and inspiration and healing in music. Did you know that in medieval times in the Arab world, hospitals hired musicians as part of the hospital staff to play soulful music for patients to ease the pain and suffering of those patients? Playing music to patients was regarded as an important part of the healing process. So music is really indispensable in times of crisis. In Lebanon, where my friend qanun player Jamal Sinno comes from, recently suffered a huge explosion that devastated the capital, Beirut, and ruined people's lives. In Syria, where our vocalist Fadi Jano comes from, the whole country was ravaged by war and resulted in a massive refugee crisis. In Palestine, where I, cellist Nasim Al-Atrash, and oud player Zafar Tawil come from, people have suffered for so long under a brutal military occupation and an apartheid regime. To people experiencing hardship, the pleasant, soothing emotions produced by Arabic musical expressions are as indispensable as water or air is to human survival. Now, more than ever before, music has become the therapy that can temporarily lift the spirits and eases the burden of daily life. The prescription that an embattled people administer in daily doses to ease their pain, their suffering, and despair. The next set will start with a beautiful taqsim or improvisation on the nai by my friend Muhammad Maj'our, the reed flute player from Morocco. This will prepare you for what is to come next, the soulful voice of Syrian vocalist Fadi Jano. Fadi will start with a medley of Hudud Halabiya in English and Aleppo Suite, a collection, a medley of pieces. It will be followed by a very famous piece called Nassam Alayna al-Hawa, a piece that was composed by the Rahbani brothers and sung by Fairuz, the Arab world's most important living singer. On the day after the recent explosion in Beirut, French President Macron visited the city, and one of his first stops was to visit the home of Fairuz in order to give her and award her with France's highest Medal of Honor.
But
Hello again. I hope you've enjoyed the last set and especially Fadi's beautiful voice. In the final set, will start with a lively and energetic piece by Lebanese composer Ziad al-Rahbani called As Iswara. You will hear the voices of Jamal Sinno, who plays Qanun, and Zafar Tawil, who plays the oud on this piece. This will be followed by a drum solo and a percussion improvisation between myself and Ruk player Muhammad Maj'our. I will be playing tabla or dumbak. After that, this will be followed by a folk piece by an unknown composer. And the final piece is a favorite of mine because of all the changes in the rhythmic patterns throughout the piece. It is called Longa Riyad, and it is composed by an acclaimed Egyptian composer by the name of Riyad al-Sumbati. Before I leave you, I would like to introduce you to the members of the Layaali Arabic Music Ensemble. The musicians include Jamal Sinno on Qanun and vocals. Jamal is from Lebanon. Zafar Tawil on oud and vocals. Zafar is from Palestine. Muhammad Maj'our on the nai, the reed flute, and riq. Muhammad is from Morocco, Al Suwaira, Morocco. Shakib Hilali is from Marrakesh in Morocco also, and he plays violin and keyboards. Simon Mshabbek, also from Palestine, he plays the quarter-tone accordion. Nasim Al-Atrash, cello, also from Palestine. Fadi Janu, who is our lead vocalist from Syria. And Michel Mshabbek, myself, on various percussion instruments. And I am also from Palestine, from the old city of Jerusalem. It was a pleasure being with you and performing for you, and thank you so much for watching.
How about a nice round of applause? A silent one would work just as well. Thank you. Thank you so much. Yeah, Michelle, I see you there. And I think I see Abdul Wahab as well. And let's see, Simone, are you there?
Yes, I'm here.
Ah, great. Okay. So thank you so much for this incredibly therapeutic session and time together listening to some beautiful sounds. I am always touched by listening to a musical ensemble, whether it's Arabic music or Western music or any kind of music, when different instruments and
Oh,
people.
well,
Oh, hello. uh, when all these different sounds come together to form one musical experience, it always touches me in a way like nothing else. It gives me hope and it gives me faith in humankind and humanity and our ability to put our voices together for something good and something deep and touching. So thank you so much for doing that for us this evening. And I guess I would like to open up the Q&A or the discussion by mentioning that I noticed in the chat at the very beginning, someone asked, what does Layaali mean? And there was some back and forth, and some wonderful new first-year Arabic students figured out that it had something to do with night and the plural nights. And yes, that's what Layaali means. But I guess what I wanted to ask is the members of Layaali, if you would tell us a little bit about what Layaali as the name of your ensemble means to you, why you named it that, and what being a part of Layaali means to you. And that might be a nice way to start our discussion.
First, I'd like to say thank you so much, Paula. It was so great to see you. I miss you guys so much. It's been so long. And it's great to have such a nice audience. It's been very hard this past year and a half. And the one thing that we miss more than anything else, of course, live music, so that this nasty pandemic will pass soon, and that we'll be able to come and perform live for you in the not so distant future. So thank you so much for inviting us, and thank you all for coming and joining us. Yes, you guessed it, Layaali means nights in plural. And of course, that's where everything happens in our world. It's in the night, in the evenings, where families gather, people gather, friends gather together. And we as musicians, of course, that's when we get together and sometimes play music into the night, because this is what we're so passionate about. So yes, that's what Layaali means to us. It means nights, it means gatherings, it means friendship, it means, yeah.
Wonderful. Would any of the other, Abdul Wahab, it looks like maybe you'd like to say something?
Yeah, sure, I can go. First of all, thank you very much for the invitation. It's been very difficult not to play, like Michelle said, with everyone in a long time. And I was trying to remember the last time we got together and jammed, and I think it was November 2019. And so it's almost been 18 months since I've seen Michelle and Simone, and so I appreciate the opportunity to be here a lot. I think for me personally, I've performed with Layaali a few times, and besides the connotation of the word and the actual literal meaning, the experience is about just having a good time, honestly, just enjoying ourselves on the stage and hoping that that experience sort of gets passed on to the audience members. And this is quintessential experience of performing Arabic music and performing Middle Eastern music, is that when you reach a state of the emotional ecstasy that we call tarab, and you hope to pass that on. And for me, it's always fun to play with Michel and Simon and the members of Layaali, and we always have a good time, and we try to pass on that feeling to everybody else in the audience.
Thank you. I think I can speak for many of the members of the audience. It was a wonderful experience.
I would like to send a message to Michel from Michael Culhane. He is now in LA. He played with you. You jammed at the Yellow Sofa in Northampton. And he has a video of that session. He played many times. Is it your brother's place, the Yellow Sofa?
Yes, that is my brother's place. Yes.
And I've been there with Michael's dad, and we have,
Wow.
and he has a video of that, the one that you played with him, and he has it on his collection of at Culbrain Records. And he remembers the retreat. We came to the retreat, and what wonderful. And I love your publications. I've been a customer for a long time. And I just ordered 2 books yesterday. God bless you. God bless the ensemble. You are great. And God love Palestine.
No, thank you. Thank you so much, Hind, and please give my love to Michael. It's been a long, long time.
I know.
Thank you so much.
He's playing, he's composing, writing songs. That's great.
That's wonderful to hear.
Love you and to your family too.
Thank you so much.
Thank you. Shukran. Shukran. Salam.
So Simone, I wanted to make sure you had a turn answering the opening question.
Sure. I never really thought of the explanation that Michelle gave, but it is, for me, it's especially true because, as you may guess, we were related. And so I remember, many nights just going over to his house and, Layaali being there, just like hanging out and just playing, eating and just having a good time. So to have played with them, to join them on stage is like, well, an honor for me, and I love it. And but it really does embody that, like that feeling that I have of just going over and just having a great time.
Wonderful.
And, yeah.
Wonderful. Yeah, there's a common Ya Layl is part of Arabic singing. We're always calling out to the night, and this is when we do our best musical performances, it seems, and express ourselves into the darkness and into the moonlight and into the starlight. So I love the name Layaali. The sound of it is also beautiful. I wanted to ask you, you're the accordionist, and at the beginning, Michelle mentioned that your accordion is set up to be played with quarter notes, quarter tones.
Yeah.
And I was interested in this because here's a secret going to be revealed, but I am an accordionist.
Cool.
And but I play always Western music, classical music on the accordion. I grew up playing that in Massachusetts. I haven't been playing it for years, but I remember one time talking to my to my music teacher, my accordion teacher, and telling her I wanted to be able to learn to play some, Arabic music, some Lebanese songs that I had learned. And she explained that the accordion, my accordion, wasn't really capable of doing that because the scale that's on a piano accordion doesn't fit for the quarter tone. So I thought maybe you could say something about that aspect of Arabic music and your actual instrument, and how do you come by one that is set up for that? I know there's reeds inside and you have to do something for it. So could you
Yeah, yeah. So I didn't come by one. I actually had mine modified. I have it here, and I had it modified to be able to play. Well, actually, really to approximate the maqamat, because there's a lot of nuance to like the exact pitch of those notes, and so I can approximate them by I can get one E half flat, for example, but not necessarily E super half flat or not so half flat, you know. But the way I did that was I brought it to a tuner, and I asked him. I don't know if people know how the accordion works, but for each note, when you press it, there are actually two reeds that can sound. One when you pull the accordion open, like this, and then the other when you push the accordion closed. So I had him retune one of those reeds to be half or a quarter tone flat. So for example, if I play only for certain notes that are commonly half flat, I had to make this alteration. So for example, if I play C, it's the same in both directions. But if I play E, I don't know if you can see. If I play
Yeah, you
E,
can see.
when I pull the bellows open, it's E natural. But if I push the bellows closed, this is E half flat. So
And you play E to E half flat to E flat?
yes, yeah. So if I pull out now, it's E natural, and then E half flat.
And now play E flat?
Yeah.
Yeah, that's interesting.
Yeah. So
Great.
there are a handful of notes that are altered like that across the keyboard, and I just have to be aware of which way I'm pulling or pushing the bellows to play the.
Yeah, great. Okay, so that's how it's done. Wonderful. Thank you for the demonstration.
You're
I
welcome.
really appreciate it.
The one thing that really makes Arabic music so distinct is really the maqam phenomena. And the
Yeah,
maqam
could you tell us
phenomena
a
in
bit about
Arabic
that?
music. Can you guys hear me?
Yes.
Yeah. Okay. So the maqam in Arabic music, it incorporates microtonality, and what I mean by that is that unlike Western music, where the smallest tonal interval, and I'm generalizing here, is the half tone. There's the full tone and the half step. In Arabic music, of course, we have quarter tones and sometimes eighth tones and sometimes 16th tones. So that's what really gives that Arabic music that special sound. It's each maqam is based on a theoretical scale, specific notes and patterns of melodic movements. And the maqamat are based on a referential octave scale consisting of 24 equal quarter notes. And I'm so happy to see you, Abdul Wahab, because it's been so long that I really miss you. And it's great to have you with us. And I would like the opportunity for Abdul Wahab to really explain on the oud, because the oud is like the in Western music. It's the composition instrument, and perhaps Abdul Wahab can demonstrate and talk a little bit about the maqams And after that, I would love for Abdul Wahab to give us an example of a taqsim and play a nice taqsim on the oud, because you didn't get a chance to see that really in the concert.
Yeah, so just picking up on that, so I don't know how many people in the audience are familiar with like music theory, but like Michelle said, the distinguishing trait of Arabic music is microtonality. So, you know, most Western music theory is based on semitones. So semitonal intervals between each interval. So it would sound something like, and like Simone just demonstrated, what's distinguishing about the music that we play is that there are tones that don't fall on a semitonal pattern that we play. So this is a major third, this is a minor third, and then there's let's say like a Rust tetrachord, which is so so basically the oud is able to enunciate these pitches because it's a fretless instrument, and any fretless instrument would be able to enunciate these pitches. Now what people who play let's say digital for lack of better description, digital tones, so like accordion, like qanun, like these other instruments, they have to adjust the tonality according to like approximations. So the closest thing to a microtone as it gets, which we describe informally as quarters, but they're not really quarters, because the way that they're pronounced differs according to geography. So let's say you know, this tone, which we call sega, which in Persian means third. Sega is pronounced very differently in Turkey than it is in Iraq, than it is in Syria, than it is in Egypt. And so there are these like local differences and local flavors, shall we say, to microtonality. But when we get together and play, we approximate the closest thing that, you know, brings us all together. So we try to stay on the pitch of the qanun or the accordion, so that there's no dissonance, shall we say. So this is like a very brief snapshot of like the foundations of maqam music. So I'll play one of the most basic foundational scales in Arabic music. It's called Rust. Rust is also Persian. It means foundation or base, and it's really it's the C note is also called Rust. So this one, and it's a lot of our music is based on Rust, or like has Rust tetrachords. So I'll just play something very small in Rust to give you an idea of what it sounds like and how we, you know, sometimes modulate from Rust to other tetrachords, other maqamat, and we go back to Rust.
Allah, Allah.
Beautiful. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
That was a real treat.
A pleasure.
It's the kind of thing you just don't want it to end. It kind of takes on, it seems like it has a mind of its own. Sometimes I find myself wondering, does he know where he's going with it, or does it lead him to it? It's interesting, the way that music works.
Yeah, so actually when we improvise, it's always based on like the root tetrachord. Tetrachord means 4 notes that makes up the foundation of a particular maqam. And so even the modulations, they have a particular logic to them. When we modulate on notes that we typically like cadence on, fourths or fifths, things that are intuitive, they come intuitively. And so when the improviser is playing, there's always a certain logic to where they go, but it's really limitless in terms of what kind of combinations you can combine in order to move on the path of an improvisation. The important thing in an improvisation is that you go back to the maqam you started with. Like, it doesn't matter how much you modulate, but the trick and the skill and the challenge is in going back, like re-establishing the emotional frame that you started out with. Because you can start out with you can start out with something and end up with something completely different, and then wonder, oh, so how do I go back? And that's actually a typical challenge that musicians face. But there is a certain logic to it. Like you said, it can just go on. And so there's also a challenge of like making it manageable and small and like digestible even.
It's a lot like language, of course, and music is a language of its own. So you have the grammatical rules that kind of help keep things in order, and yet with all these words and ideas, we're able to speak and say whatever we like. But it's always best when whoever starts saying something does come back to the starting point. So we make a nice complete circle. Like that as well. Thank you. Yeah, and so there's the melody side of things, which is unique and different from what our Western ears might be used to hearing. And then also underlying the Arabic music is the different types of rhythms. Michel, you at the introduction, you demonstrated some rhythm patterns and had us clap along a little bit. Maybe you could talk a little bit about that, because that's the other feature of Arabic music that makes it sound so different if you're not used to hearing it.
Of course. What we call these rhythms in Arabic is we call them the iqa, and the plural of iqa is iqa'at. And these are patterns of beats ranging from 2 to 24 and even more. Each iqa consists of rests and beats. And there is a doom, which is the deep sound that you make when you hit either the tabla or the riq right in the middle. And then there's the tak sound, which is the high-pitched, crisp sound when you hit either the tabla or the riq on the rim. I don't have my instruments on me, but perhaps Simone could grab an instrument there and demonstrate the difference between the dooms and the tucks, and how the combination together with the rests can make a beat. Okay, he grabbed a tambourine. Simone is also a great riq player, by the way. So Simone, perhaps you can demonstrate the doom and perhaps the different types of the tacks, because the tack could be hit on the rim, It could be a hit on the zill or the cymbals on the side of the tambourine. It could be also a hit with all four fingers. So yeah,
Yeah.
Simone will demonstrate.
So the doom is played like this. Either the ring finger or the pointer finger. And it's like the deepest sound you can make on this drum. And even no matter how, there are several ways of holding it, but no matter how you hold it, that's the sound. And the tech, you can do several ways. You can do it like this. On the rim, you can do one like this that's kind of dry in the middle. You can do it on the cymbals. You can even do it like this, just hitting the side. Do you want to hear them together, like in a rhythm?
Yes.
Okay, so this is, I'll do maksum, which is doom, tech, tech, doom, tech. So. Right, or you could do it. Or any combination of those techs, and then you can ornament it with others. So. But the core is still there. I don't know, Amo, is that, you direct me, Amo.
That's good. That's good. That's all there is to it. Of course, we talked earlier about some of the more intricate patterns and beats of the iqa'at, and I demonstrated earlier halfway through the concert the 10/8 rhythm, which is played a lot in classical music, and I had you all clapping with me on the 1 and the 6 and the 7, and this is a very, very common beat played on the sama'iyat, which is the sama'i genre of Arabic music. So perhaps, do you want to demonstrate it again on the Rick, Simone? Do a 10/8 rhythm?
Sure. I'll count with it first. So 8, 9, 10. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Boom, 2, 3, tack. Boom, boom, tack. 9, 10. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. And then, yeah, you can ornament it. So, yeah, the idea is to keep the zooms and texts audible even when you ornament it.
Very nice. It's so different from, in the Western musical system, we just pretty much have 4/4 time, 3/4 time. Those are the most common kind of rhythm patterns that we're used to. So what makes it sort of move is where you get that imbalance of a beat and then two together and then extra ones, and it's not really divided up evenly. So it always keeps you kind of swaying along with it, which is part of the fun of Arabic music.
And the phrases of the melodic phrases of some eyes, they like play on it. It's much more interesting terrain for the melody to like traverse,
Yeah, interesting. Yeah.
I think.
Yeah, so the rhythms are like the ground that the melodies walk upon. That's interesting image. Well, great. I wonder if anybody in the audience has a question that they'd like to ask. If you want to just go ahead and speak up, or if you want to type something in the chat. Does anyone have a question? Well, that's fine. Let me ask you one other question. During the, let's see, the toughest times of the pandemic, it feels in a way that we're coming out of it, although we're really still kind of living in the same world at this point. But there were some times when I was really taken by some virtual choir pieces that were shared on Facebook and Instagram and other places. Or I think there were some musical pieces put together by small groups of people where, you know, they would record their individual parts, but then somehow with technology, they were able to put them together into some really amazing pieces. Have you at all tried any of this during this time, Layaali?
I think Aboudi may have tried. I think I listened to a couple of pieces that Aboudi recently moved to Montreal. So he's far away from us. And by the way, Mesa is in Montreal this year.
Yeah, that's right.
I don't know if this is going to happen, but yeah, maybe we'll see you guys there. So Aboudi, yes, I listened to a couple of performances with Aboudi where it was done like that on Zoom. I participated with a number of Zoom virtual events, but you know, it does require some high technical abilities on the part of an editor to after you have the different films to put together and edit them so that the quality is high enough. I don't know, perhaps Aboudi can talk about his experience.
Yeah, I mean, I think the pandemic sort of forced us to diversify the ways in which we receive and, you know, perform this music. So I did a couple of live streams. I'm from Jordan, so the project that I think Michelle is referring to was a tribute to two of our conservatory teachers who passed away, one of them due to COVID, actually. And so we recorded a tribute to them, one of their pieces that required some coordination because I was recording from Canada. My friends, some of them were recording from Jordan, some were recording from outside of Jordan, from the Emirates. But yeah, it requires recording technology. It requires a producer to sort of mix it, and it requires some video editing. So I think it is a technical challenge, and it is something that, you know, even us as performers, we're not used to playing for cameras in empty rooms. You know, like yeah, it's still a challenge. I mean, I've been lucky enough to perform in Canada in several concerts, but they've all been for camera crews, you know, for live streams that get, you know, either a broadcast live or they're broadcast later, and it's not the same, you know, especially for the kind of music that we play. You know, it does feed off the energy of the crowd. There is something about the relationship between the performer and the people who are in the room at the time. So yeah, I mean, I think we've been inventive. We've tried to manage, and we've tried to sort of, you know, rise up to the challenge of not having theaters for as long as we've had. It's not really a substitute, but it's been a learning experience anyway. I mean, I think there is a like a camera fright element of like playing for the camera, which is different than stage fright. It's like, you know, stage fright is nothing in comparison to just like playing for a hollow room and, you know, now what, you know, after you finish. But yeah, it's been a challenge. We've tried to do the most of it. I think cultural curators are paying attention to the fact that music should be supported, that music should be prioritized, that there is a way to support artists and to deliver listening experiences to audiences. And I think it will grow in the future, regardless of what happens in the pandemic. But it's definitely not a substitute for a live performance.
Correct. Yes.
Yeah, as Aboudi said, especially during live musical performances, there is that connection between the musicians and the audience that really cannot duplicate in a Zoom performance, or it brings our musicality to a much higher level when we see the audience reaction. And if somebody in the audience says Allah to Aboudi when he plays a great taqsim, he is going to keep going and give you more. So this is something that we really miss very, very much.
Yes, you feed off of each other for sure, the audience and the performer. Well, hopefully better times are ahead and not too far in the future for all of us. And I hope that everyone enjoyed the show. If anybody has another question or comment to make, this would be a good time. I noticed that my colleague, Professor Brito, put the links in the chat for students who are here with the Language and Culture series and want to get your passport stamped so that you can have a better chance of winning some of the prizes they have available for these events. I hope you can see that in the survey. Does anyone have any last thing to say? I'm going to just put up my PowerPoint again. There's a couple of just thank yous at the end that I will put before we say goodbye, but I wanted to give everyone one last chance if you'd like to say something.
I was going to say that I was so happy to see Adnan in the audience as well. So greetings to Adnan. And again, thank you so much for inviting us, Paula. This is a pleasure. It's great to see you and hope we see you in person before too long.
I hope so. Hopefully in Montreal.
Inshallah. Hello.
Okay, wonderful. Well, again, special thanks to our contributing sponsors. And also, I would like to let everyone know if you'd like more information about our program, the Arabic program, we have a website, arabic.uark.edu. We're on Facebook and Instagram at UARK Arabic, and we have a YouTube channel, UARK Arabic as well. And just one last time, I'll put up this information about for students who are here as part of the Language and Culture series. And I would also like to thank my colleague, especially Professor Brito, the director of the Portuguese program in our department, for all his help with allowing us to be a part of the series and for his work in coordinating other events for the series. And I'd like to thank all of the other members of the organizing committee for the Language and Culture series for letting us be a part of it. And that is the end of our show. So I will say not goodbye, but ila al-liqa. Until we meet again. Thank you, everybody.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thanks very much.
Thanks.
Thank you. Thank you so much.
So Paula,
Yes?
yeah, will this be available to view?
Yes, we'll get a recording up on our YouTube channel and we'll send an email to all the participants so that you can go and see the recording.
Excellent. Okay, thank you.
You're welcome.